evening, everybody. What an honor it is to be with everyone tonight. There are a lot of thank yous I need to give. I want to start by thanking my wife, Kendra. You see the boys, Aubrey and Mason, in their quarter zips. And of course, love. But I also want to thank my parents, my siblings, and all of my extended family that are here. I want to thank Mayor William Bell. Please stand and be acknowledged for being here. And while he's standing, I want him to continue to stand. I want to thank Mayor Dr. Bernard Kincaid for also being here. Please stand. Before they take their seats, I want to also acknowledge Mayor Dr. Richard Harrington Jr., who, at 91 years of age, could not be here tonight because he's with his family for Thanksgiving out of town. So please, I stand on the shoulders of these gentlemen. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you. Wardine has already mentioned their name, but their names are worth calling again, and so I want to start with thanking the entire Birmingham City Council, starting with the President of the Birmingham City Council, Representative of District 7, Wardine Alexander. The Pro Tem of the Birmingham City Council, Representative of District 9, LaTonya Tate. Representing District 1, Councilor Hunter Woods. Clinton Woods, I know his name. You know, I got to work with these men and women, so I don't want to get beat up. So I'm going to repeat that. Representing District 1, Councilor Clinton Woods. And representing District 2, Councilor Hunter Williams. Representing District 3, Josh Vasa. Representing District 4, Brian Gunn. Representing District 5, Dr. Darrell O'Quinn. Representing District 6, Crystal Smitherman. And representing District 8, Sonia Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my colleagues, and we look so forward to representing you. I also want to thank my colleague across the park who works with us every day, Commissioner Sheila Tyson. Also want to thank District Attorney Danny Carr and District Attorney Lanice Washington. And at this time, I think we have a room full of robes, and so our municipal court judges, along with our judges of the 10th Judicial Circuit, would you please stand and be acknowledged? We can't do our work in the legislative or the executive branch of government without our judicial branch, and so I want to thank them for their service to our community and our state. Also want to acknowledge our state legislators who are here. By the way, I cannot see any of y'all out here. Also want to acknowledge the Birmingham City School Board members, as well as all of our city employees. If you are a city employee, please stand and be acknowledged and recognized. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. You know this is my third time standing before you like this, the third inaugural address. And I want to be honest with all of you. I thought by now this might feel routine or familiar, maybe even a little predictable, but it doesn't. If anything, I am more excited. I'm more excited about tonight than I was 8 years ago. More hopeful, more convinced that what we're building together is not just possible, it's inevitable. Because when I look out at this crowd, yes, that was love, everybody. When I look out at this crowd, I don't just see familiar faces. Though I am grateful for every single one of you who've been with us on this journey, I see something else. Something that makes my heart race. I see the future of Birmingham looking back at me. I see it in the eyes of the children who are here tonight. I see it in the young people who weren't even born when we started this work 8 years ago, who are now dreaming of who they will become. I see it in the parents who are fighting for their children the same way their parents fought for them. In the teachers who refuse to give up, and the neighbors who still believe in each other. And when I see them, when I really, really see them, everything comes into focus. Because every decision we make as a city, every dollar we spend, every policy we pursue, every fight we pick, really comes down to one question, one important question. What does this mean? What does this mean for Birmingham's children? Not as an afterthought, not as a priority among many, but as the lens through which we see everything. That is the commitment I am making tonight. In my third term, our children won't just be a part of the agenda. They will be the why that drives every decision we make. See it with me. A grandmother standing on her porch, watching her child head off to a Birmingham city school that is better today than it has ever been. A Birmingham where every child walks into school ready to thrive, where every baby born comes home to books and support, where every student sees a clear path from the classroom to college to career, and where every young adult can see themselves building a life right here in the city that raised them. That's not a dream. That's a promise. That's the Birmingham we're building. And it's called Cradle to Career. Cradle to Career is not just an early childhood initiative or an education program. It is an organizing principle for our entire city. Cradle to Career means we take responsibility for our children from the moment they're born until they're launched into a successful adulthood. Not just in one program, not just in one neighborhood, but as an entire community working together every step of the way. Now, some cities across America have proven what's possible when a community commits to this approach. It's a movement where we are going to lead. Now, let me show you. I want to show you, Birmingham, what that looks like in practice, because this isn't abstract. It's how we run our city. Our children cannot learn if they're hungry. Our children cannot learn if they're hungry. In 2025, we've seen a world that far too often seems devoid of love, compassion. And while national leaders play political games and build gold-plated ballrooms, nearly 1 in 4 families in our city risk losing access to benefits to keep food on their table. Those same lawmakers now threaten to rip away health care that is, for those who need it most. But where Washington wavered, Birmingham, as my colleague LaTanya Tate said, stood on business, contributing $1 million to make sure families are fed this Thanksgiving. Our community united, many of you in this room, to donate, to stock shelves, to volunteer, provide financial aid. Neighbors helping neighbors. People putting people first. And I want to be very clear. We're going to keep doing that because Cradle to Career means caring for the whole child, the whole family, the whole community. And it turns out, Birmingham, You can't build a pipeline to success on empty stomachs. Our children can't dream big if they're afraid. Our children cannot dream big if they're afraid. They deserve to play outside, to walk to school, and imagine their future without fear. That's why public safety isn't separate from our education work. It's foundational to it. The men and women of Birmingham Police Department brought homicides down and officer recruitment up under the leadership of Police Chief Michael Pickett. The Community-Led Crime Commission report guided many of these changes you've seen, but we know there's more work to do, Birmingham. We want to be the safest city in America. This is not a talking point. This is not a talking point. It is a promise to every parent that their child's potential won't be cut short by violence. A promise to every child that they can watch their grades and not have to watch their backs. Okay? Our children are watching the community they deserve take shape. Our children are watching the community they deserve take shape. You know, when we demolish blighted structures, when we pave roads, when we bring new life to communities like Eastlake and Druid Hills and Fountain Heights and so many more, our children are watching. They're learning what we think they're worth. We've demolished thousands of blighted structures. We opened Bessie Estelle Park as Birmingham's first all-inclusive park because every child deserves the right and the opportunity to play. This isn't just neighborhood revitalization for that mother or that grandmother on her porch. It's leveling up to show our children that we believe their neighborhoods are worth fighting for, that we believe they deserve beauty and opportunity right where they live. Our children need to know where they come from. Our children need to know where they come from. They need to know their history, their legacy, their power. That's why we're investing in our Civil Rights District, the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, 16th Street Baptist Church, and the Civil Rights Crossroads Project. Because our children need to know, Birmingham, our city, Birmingham, Alabama, has always been underestimated, and Birmingham has always risen above circumstance. From adversity to activism, our children come from that legacy. They carry that same DNA. When the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth organized freedom rides from Bethel Baptist Church, when Dr. King drafted his letter from our city jail, when activists planned the future of freedom in room 30 of the A.G. Gaston Motel, they were in small rooms making breakthroughs that changed the world. The smaller the room, sometimes the bigger the breakthrough. And everything we do is about preparing our children for that calling. Now let me tell you how we're going to make those efforts real. Let me tell you how we've made those efforts real. Small Magic is our early childhood initiative, putting tools in the hands of parents and caregivers at the most critical stage of their children's brain development. We're starting strong from those crib and bottle days. Birmingham City Schools deserves their own round of applause because they receive their highest score on the state report card. Let's be clear, that didn't happen by accident. That happened because Dr. Mark Sullivan and the school board and principals and teachers and parents and yes, our students showed up and did the work, and they're not done yet. But let me talk about the piece of this puzzle. Let me talk about the piece of this puzzle that shows what's possible when Birmingham makes a promise to its children and keeps it. A Birmingham promise. You know, we've transformed more than 1,600 young lives, over 11 million in tuition assistance. But this isn't just a number on a page. That's 1,600 young people who've walked across graduation stages knowing that their city saw them, their city believed in them, and their city invested in them. That's 1,600 families who did not have to choose between surviving the mud and backing their child's dreams. But the Birmingham Promise is more than a scholarship program. It's just what it claims to be, a promise that if you work hard in our schools, if you give back to our community, if you commit to a brighter future, our city, Birmingham, will commit to you. We'll remove the financial barriers between you and your potential. We will clear a path. It's a promise that's already bearing fruit. Promise scholars are graduating from college. They're coming back home. They're starting businesses, teaching in our schools, working in our hospitals. They're becoming the teachers, the engineers, and the entrepreneurs, the leaders that this city needs. The Birmingham Promise is creating a cycle of investment and return that will compound for generations. But we're not stopping there. This term, we're going to strengthen the promise. We're going to endow the promise, and we're going to expand the promise. We're going to make sure students know about it earlier so they can plan their futures with confidence. We're going to connect Promise scholars with more mentors and more internships and more career pathways right here in Birmingham. Because Promise isn't just about getting our young people out. It's about giving them every reason to come back home and build with us. That's what Cradle to Career looks like in practice. It is the seamless connection from small magic to Birmingham City Schools to Birmingham Promise to careers right here at home. But not the kind that extracts and depletes. It's the kind that nourishes and renews. This is not something new for us as a city. We have examples that already demonstrate what's possible. Agencies from Titusville to Woodlawn have been laying the groundwork for over a decade, and now Birmingham. Now it is time to plant, it is time to grow, harvest, and replant. But I have to be honest with you. This is hard work, and it requires us to think beyond election cycles and budget years. It requires us to believe we might never meet the children who will reap what we sow today. You know, there are two neighbors next door in Georgia named Big Boy and Andre 3000. You may know them as Outcasts, who recently said, success starts in small rooms and comes from your people, the community that raised you, the family that sacrificed for you, the churches that poured into you, the teachers who educated you, the neighbors who fought for you, people who love you. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. And that's the Birmingham we're building for our children. Now let me tell you about the team that is going to help us do this work. Starting with the Birmingham City Council, again led by President Wardine Alexander and her 8 colleagues. I've remixed our leadership team: James Fowler on infrastructure, Dr. Sylvia Bowen on administrative services, Carlton People on public safety, Cedric Sparks as chief of staff, Ed Fields as my chief strategist, Melissa Smiley on economic and community development, and Chaz Mitchell as our Chief Financial Officer. 7 leaders. 7 leaders among scores of dedicated, very dedicated, hard-working city employees who carry one responsibility above all others: to serve the 200,000 residents of this city, to hold their hopes, their wishes, their dreams, their futures in our hands with care, with a sense of urgency and so much love. Because at the end of the day, Birmingham, that's what this is about: love. Of those residents who came out in August, 75% voted in confidence of this administration, saying you want us to continue the work we provided for the past 8 years. Not just as a mandate. That's not just a mandate. That's trust. And we will honor that trust by going bigger in our efforts to serve our children. 2025 has been a year filled with strife and division. We've seen attacks on our civil liberties and attempts to erase the history made right here in our streets. But Birmingham will not be boxed in. We will fight for our legacy, and we will build a future worthy of it. Because we are the city that literally changed America. We are the city where courage met injustice and courage won. And now we are the city that will show America. We will show this country what it means to truly invest in every child. For those lawmakers who try to hurt our residents with their political games, for those trying to erase the legacy of human rights that happen in these streets, for the critics who say progress can be made here, I have a message for you from the poet Trinidad James. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Keep watching us. Watch what happens when a city decides